Hey everyone, it's Kate from Sleep Time Baby and welcome to the 5-Day Sleep Academy. So today's day number 1. Hopefully you've been following my kind of updates and posts all about what's to come, but essentially this is your week to learn all about how to improve your little one's sleep. So over the 5 days, I'm going to talk about everything you need to know, whether that's kind of the fundamentals, bedtime, nighttime, daytime, kind of any kind of regressions that might happen as well. So this is your chance to get all the information you need from me. So each day there'll be a video, hopefully under 10 minutes, so that I can share with you the top tips and tricks to get you on settling better. And then maybe on Friday we're going to do a Q&A. So if you've got questions along the way, please do ask. I'll try and get to them, but we'll see how it kind of goes. But first of all, just a little bit about me, because I think it's important that you know who I am. So yeah, I'm Kate Cohen. I am a certified sleep consultant and a member of the Association of Professional Sleep Consultants, which recognises the work that I do. So the training that I've had, the clients that I've had, making sure that I know the right level of information for you. And I help people with their children's sleep. So fundamentally, my ethos is about making sure you have the right understanding and making sure I can help you find your journey to better sleep. So I don't do crying out. I do lots of understanding. I take into account everything from a holistic point of view so that you feel empowered enough to make that change and support you through it. So I have lots of services. They start from my Sleep Academy at just £45, which has support in it as well, up to my full kind of level of support one-to-one. So you can find out more about that at sleeptimebaby.co.uk, or if you want to chat about it, or if you kind of through this week find you're sort of struggling to understand and you just want to know how you can work with me more, then head on over and book a free call at the website. So fundamentally, let's get on with it. The first thing to mention with this week is it's going to be a prize every day, which I'm really excited about because that will get you all going and interacting with everything. So the prize today is a fantastic bedroom cushion, or a cushion for anywhere really, from the lovely brand Mini Mellow. So they are a friend of mine who's just set up a business that is looking at trying to create a calm environment for your little one's sleep. So it's beautiful kind of colours that are really in tune with kind of that calm environment for bedtime, making sure that there's fantastic patterns as well, and there's loads and loads of options. So head on over and have a look. But you can win a cushion from their range today, so I'll be posting the prize up later. So have a look and get entering. But today, fundamentals, right? So this is kind of the start of my journey with sleep. So when I had my second child, I realised I knew nothing about sleep. We hadn't covered it in my antenatal class. We didn't actually do a refresher class because he was my second. But really, I didn't know everything. And this is kind of what I want to make sure you understand. If you don't get the fundamentals of sleep, how can you build on it? So it's really, really important. Now, sleep itself has been proven to be so vital. It's a bit of a mystery to scientists, sleep, but what you need to really understand is that whether it's sleep deprivation or whether it's just the development of the child or whether it's how it's affecting your health or your child's health, it's so important to value sleep and don't just write it off as something that's kind of like, oh well, never mind. You just really need to make sure that, around, if you looked at the kind of the Maslow's hierarchy of need, which is a fantastic way of kind of working out the basics, we need food, we need shelter, and we need sleep. So don't undervalue the importance of it. Now, if you've got a younger child, sort of a baby up until the age of about kind of, well, let's say 2-ish, when they can start to communicate, you know that you're going to need to help them into the routine of sleep. But if you've got an older child, you're going to need to be able to kind of communicate and set down the boundaries that are right for you. So there's a slightly different approach with younger children and older children, but the fundamentals do actually stay the same. Now, really important, and I'll put up a kind of a visual of this hopefully later, but sleep cycles are the things that often people don't really understand properly. So a child and adults go through sleep cycles. In a newborn baby up to the age of about 10 to 12 weeks, they're about 35 minutes long. And then at 4 months, and we'll talk about the 4-month sleep regression perhaps later in the week, it changes and it lengthens out to about 45 minutes. And then over time, it lengthens out to what we have as adults, which is about an hour and a half. Now, a sleep cycle is the journey that they go through on every 45 minutes after that 4-month change. And what happens is you start off going to sleep, and then you go into the light stage of sleep for about 10 minutes, then drift into the sort of heavier sleep, and then deep sleep, then come back out into lighter sleep, and then back to the top at that 45-ish minute mark. And at that moment, there's this kind of magical, slightly awake moment before they go back into the next sleep cycle. And it's at that point that they may be looking out for something to get them to go back to sleep, which leads me nicely into the world of sleep props. So if you haven't heard of a sleep prop, then basically a sleep prop is something interruptive that gets a child to go to sleep that's an external factor. So for this, I kind of mean perhaps a dummy, potentially feeding to sleep or rocking to sleep. It could be a lullaby or a light show, music going on in the background. All of these things in sleep consultancy world are deemed as sleep props. Now, they are all fine if your child sleeps well. Just remember that. I'm not here to change your child's sleep. It's good, obviously. But if your child struggles with settling and they have something out external that helps them to go to sleep, then I would suggest that perhaps it plays a bit of a part in terms of the wakings that you might be seeing and the disrupted sleep that you might be getting. So it's about trying to understand that and work out whether there are changes that you can make to improve your child's sleep. So sleep props will become a big kind of topic if you're thinking about it. Now, classically, I talk to a lot of people who have perhaps been feeding their child to sleep or rocking their child to sleep or perhaps holding them. And it's about that gradual journey and trying to make those changes to put them down in a awake state to get them to go to sleep rather than being reliant on that prop. And that is why the sleep cycles are really important to understand, because if your child has issues going through sleep cycles and they have a prop in play, then if you can remove the prop, then you can help them to go through the sleep cycles, or at the very least, understand a bit about why they kind of wake. So maybe if I think about whether your child has a sleep prop in play, and I might put a question up about that and see if we can identify what the biggest kind of issues are around sleep props, really. Now, the other thing to contend with is to make sure that we're working with the child's body. Now, one of the massive things that helps us actually in sleep is our body clock. So I don't know if you've heard of something called the circadian rhythm, but essentially that's the way that our body can get ourselves up in the morning, and it recognises when we need to sleep, and it recognises when nighttime's coming. So a newborn baby isn't born with any kind of body clock or circadian rhythm, and that starts to develop as time comes on, over the first sort of few weeks. So once we understand about the body clock, we can start to make sure that that will help us. And we'll talk a bit more about that in terms of the routine and settling. But essentially, if you can get your child to go down at a similar time each day, then the body clock will kind of help you. And also it will help you from a production of melatonin. So melatonin is the sleepy hormone, if you haven't heard of it before. So melatonin is secreted within the body, and it's secreted to help us feel sleepy. So that's a great thing to encourage your child to kind of feel and do, and that helps us to kind of fall asleep in a nice kind of way. So if we can get melatonin building up in the body, then we can help them to sleep better. So it's not quite as simple as that in a way, but what we need to do is to make sure we encourage that. Now, melatonin is produced in accordance with a couple of things. One of which is going to bed at a similar time, so the body clock. So that's why we always recommend keeping a consistent bedtime. Now, that's not always possible when you've got naps that might mean not going right in the day, because actually you want to make sure that you're recognising your child's tired signals. But perhaps having a sort of half an hour variance around sort of bedtime the body will still recognise that it's time to go to sleep. Now, we'll talk about timings probably tomorrow. We talk about routines and everything, but keeping a consistent bedtime will help the production of melatonin. Now, the other thing that you need to consider from a melatonin point of view is light levels. So basically, melatonin is in lower light levels, and it's kept at its highest point if the light level's low, which is why we talk about dimming the lights at bedtime, sleeping in a dark environment, and making sure that we're avoiding screen time before bed. And this is one of the key facts around it. The screen time before bed isn't like an excitement factor to keep them calm. It's actually all about making sure that they are in the right place for kind of sleep from a melatonin point of view, because the melatonin the screen time, the blue light that's emitted from the screens will stop the production of melatonin. So it stops them from feeling so sleepy. So think about all of that. Now, the other thing to consider is your bedroom environment. Obviously, you need to be following the Lullaby Trust for all the recommendations around safe sleep. So back to sleep, clear safe space, making sure the temperature's right. There are so many great resources on their site. So I really would love you to go and have a look at that. So making sure the environment is good, a nice calm environment. Look at the Mini Mellow colour scheme for some ideas. They're fab. And then knowing really fundamentally that this is your child's journey to sleep. Now, I can tell you all my things and my tips and tricks, and you may think, oh, that's not going to work with me because actually I've got a different kind of approach to it. But if you can think about it and think about actually the fundamentals of sleep being so important and trying to work out and identify your child's problems, then maybe you can navigate a way through. I'm always here to try and find a way for you. I don't have a one size fits all because I don't believe that matters. So actually what you need to do is work out what your child's sleep issues are, make those changes, and then fundamentally we can see if you can see some improvements. So that's it for today. I've just gone over slightly 10 minutes, which I'm going to try and keep it shorter tomorrow. But fundamentally, you need to kind of understand that if your child has an issue going to sleep, is it because they're not in the kind of the right environment? Have you got the right bedtime going on? Are you respecting their kind of need for sleep and the importance of sleep? Think about how they're falling asleep and the sleep props that might be in play, and then how they're kind of waking through the night. We will talk a load more about how to settle your child tomorrow. Then we'll talk about night wakings and daytime, etc. through the week. So day one is done. I will get busy and make sure these are uploaded so you can catch up on them later if you haven't seen it already. And I'll be posting up about the prizes and sending things out. So let me know if you've got any questions, and look out for some polls for asking about sleep props, etc. But I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.